What are some of the attributes that people that are watching this should take and write down and then implement into their teams or their business?
Well, I mean, I think the key to, getting to a place where you can do that many deals and do them well is, you got to have systems. I mean, systems is a big piece of it. So we're always trying to build other systems, checklists, just ways of doing things that, and make it a repeatable process. So whenever I set a listing appointment, it's a process. I go online, we have a Google form that we use. I fill in the client's name, address, details, source them, where they came from, when the meeting time is. That goes to Emily. She's my staff, the listing coordinator. She pulls up the, all the information I need, puts a file together for me, and then I'm able to take it from there. So it's being systematic about that, and then I know where to find that file before I go out on that listing appointment. So that's just one thing. Transaction management is the same way.
Tell people that story of the one post that kind of took things off unexpectedly, just out of the blue.
Well, yeah, so I was having, it was back in October. I was having a horrible day. It was a Friday afternoon, getting pretty late in the day. I was mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. I lost out on 2 properties in one day, and I was pissed. I was so mad. I was so mad at myself. I was like, what is wrong with me? Clearly, I shouldn't be in real estate. I'm doing something wrong. I need a new career. I need to just give up.
Wow.
And you're thinking, but things happen, and you're thinking horribly about yourself. Like, what am I even doing? This is so difficult. It's exhausting. And I got home, and I did what any good agent does, and I opened a bottle of wine.
I was going to say drank.
And I started, and I drank. Yeah. So I drank, and I started drinking, and I was like, oh, this is horrible. It's all my fault. And then I started to think about my clients, and I was like, well, one lost out on a property that wasn't really the right property for them. Another one, the home inspection came back, and it was absolutely horrible. So they didn't do anything wrong. They shouldn't have, it was actually good that they got out of those contracts. So as I'm drinking, I'm like, well, they didn't do anything wrong. So it wasn't their fault. It actually worked out for the best for them. And as I keep drinking, I'm like, well, they didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't do anything wrong. If I had to do it all over again, I would have done the same thing. It just happened. And as soon as I realized it just happened, I was like, well, then why am I so upset about this? It's easy to take these things very personally. And of course, by then I was halfway through the bottle. So I was like, oh, wait, it's not my fault. Oh my God, it's not my fault. This is amazing. And I had some music, clarity, total wine clarity. And I had some music playing in my apartment, and I started dancing around, and my dog was jumping on me, and I've got a bit of an open door policy at my place, and so a girlfriend walked in, and she saw me acting like an idiot in my living room, jumping around with a bottle of wine, and she started videoing it. And of course, by the time, as one does, and of course, by the time I'm finished the bottle, I think it's a great idea to put it on Instagram.
They look amazing. Those moves haven't been seen ever.
And they're horrible. And if you look back, I laugh at that post all the time. But I put it up, and I was basically like, look, I feel horrible about myself. I lost out on this, but I'm literally learning how to shake it off. And yeah, 10 years into my career, I'm finally figuring out a way not to take it so personally, because I think as agents, we really do that a lot. And a funny thing kind of started to happen. I started to get a whole bunch of likes, but not just like a whole bunch, but like 100, 200, 300. And then I started to get a lot of comments. And it was all of these agents that are saying, we get you, we've been there too. Oh my God, I'm so glad I saw this. I feel the exact same way. Thank you, you've got this. And a lot of support and encouragement within that real estate community. And over 500 likes later, I think there's like 150 comments on it. And it's all about how people are dealing kind of with that rejection. Because I was like, listen, I got not just a little bit rejected today, but majorly, and I felt like it was my fault. And people they related to that. That was my first post that was really relatable. And people felt like they knew who I was. So I started to get messages from people, wishing encouragement back and forth. And then a few days later, I got a phone call. And I got a phone call from an agent in Toronto. And I'm worried because I'm like, why is this person that I don't know calling me? And she goes, Sarah, I saw your post on Instagram. Oh no.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh geez. She says, I saw your post on Instagram, and I actually feel like we're really alike. I looked back through some of your posts and I feel like I kind of know your personality from what I've seen. And I feel like we're so alike that my clients would think that we're really alike. And if my clients like working with me, they'll probably like working with you. And good news for you, they're moving to Calgary and I want to give them your name.
Sweet.
So that was the first referral that I got from somebody that I had never met before, that had saw me kind of acting like a bit of a fool on Instagram, but just kind of dealing with the fact that I felt like a huge reject. And since that time, that was the first one. I've had 5 since then. And it's just people that feel that they can relate to you and they feel comfortable knowing that they can pass their clients on to me. And it's been amazing. I never saw that coming.
When I first started in this business, I was role playing for 2 hours every day and practicing scripts for 2 hours every day.
That's awesome.
Now, I was also practicing with the people that I was talking to because I do a lot of phone prospecting. And at the time when I first started, I also did a lot of door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was also practicing all day long on all the people that I was talking to. They didn't know I was practicing, but I was. So you might as well practice a live person, right?
That's awesome.
And in the beginning, my closing ratio was maybe 20, 25, 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Now my closing ratio is 85%.
Wow.
So, but in the beginning, when I spent that 2 hours a day working on my scripts, it made me really jump up. And there was a period of time where I kind of thought, oh, I'm doing fine. I don't need to practice as much. And I would maybe role play an hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe. And I really noticed a drop off during that time. I just got rusty and I wasn't doing as much conversion at that point. So, about 2 years ago, I got back into the habit of really practicing those scripts again every day. And last year I had my best year ever. So
That's awesome.
it continues to grow.
So, early on I realized that, the first thing I realized in real estate is that I didn't understand why real estate agents had this need to do everything themselves. It never made sense to me. I met all these agents who are like, oh no, I still meet agents who are like, oh, I go on all my own inspections and, I do all this. And I always would say, why? You're not the best are you the best person to do that? It doesn't make any sense. So I understood early on that I have a certain skill set that I'm good at, and everything else I'm pretty bad at. So I'm actually terrible at follow-up. I'm terrible at customer service. I don't get back to people. I don't respond to emails. I knew I was bad at all that stuff.
Sounds like a typical agent.
Yeah, man. I know I'm terrible at all that stuff. So what I knew I needed to do is I needed to create a system that would work to make that happen, and I needed to find the right people that would execute on that, because I'm not going to be the one that that executes on that. Have you guys read the book Rocket Fuel? It's a I think Jeff Cohn might have recommended this one to me.
Really?
It's a book called Rocket Fuel. And it says that, in every organization, there's kind of the visionary and then there's the person that executes. And rarely do you have a good visionary that's also a good person that's going to be executing on all these minor things. So that's kind of the backstory on it. And so, I'm very systems based, and I always wanted to create systems around this. So we're very checklist driven on our team. I have an amazing director of administration. Her name is Courtney. She might be listening, but she's the one that helped us set all this up. And so Courtney really manages all of our systems. We do everything through a program called Basecamp, which is kind of a process-driven collaboration software. And all of our checklists are on there. And so it's very easy to follow. Our administration team follows all of the checklists that they need to make sure that customer service is delivered. Because to me, it was like, if it's not being delivered, it's a systems problem. I'm not going to do it. I need to find someone that can do it, that can really follow the checklist. And then we just evolve the checklist. A system is really, at the end of the day, it's just a good checklist. So now when you look, it's like we have all these 5-star Yelp reviews, and it's all because our admin people follow the checklist that's there, and we know that those things work.
I'm like, hey, I think there's a unique twist on headshots that I can add, and that's where the data came in. I think this hit home with a lot of people more than maybe just a, don't look like a douche in your photo type of thing.
To say that would be Greg's advice. Don't look like a douche. I can see the quote graphic right now floating across your Instagram. Just don't be a douche.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there about how real estate agents should or shouldn't look in a photo, but I think despite that, there's obviously still a lot of photos that aren't doing yourself any service, or that they may be hurting more than they're helping. So, yeah, that's where I wrote the article, and it ended up being in the top 5 for about 2.5 weeks, and then it got over 1,100 interactions on Facebook, and
Wow.
340 shares on LinkedIn, and some pins thrown in there.
Unbelievable. I know.
So-
if we want to talk about like headshots, we should bring up Matt's headshot where it looks like he's scowling at everybody.
Well, that is a great time to bring up number 4, which is smile with teeth, because that's one thing that in that particular headshot I did not do, and I learned my lesson. And the last round of headshots I did. But yeah, there was an old photo taken that Greg is referring to where I thought I was smiling, and I literally put it up, and everybody's comment was, "Why are you so mad? Like, who are you? Who punched your child, one of your 3 12-pound babies before you took that photo?" Like, well,
Matt, show him blue steel. Show him the goodness, buddy.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
Blue steel, you got it.
Yeah, I was told once, don't be afraid to look stupid, right? And I spent 14 years in the U.S. military. I really don't care if someone thinks I'm doing something stupid. But like I went on an occupancy check with my camera and like holding it up, going, okay, this is me. I'm gonna walk up and knock on the door. This person's in default, right? So I walk up and I'm like got the camera down and I knock on the door and she answers and like we have the conversation and she's like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, well, you're gonna have to relocate. I can help you with that. And it was kind of she blew me off thing. And then I walked back and I put the camera back up and said, hey, she kind of blew me off, but I'm gonna keep coming back and bugging her, kind of a thing. And that thing got like a ton of views because it was real and it was super, like it's not steady. I was just like holding the camera up and walking around with it and stuff. And we've done lockouts. I've got one where I show everybody how to pick a lock because we got a new assignment.
To get into your own listing.
Yeah, it was our own listing, and the key had disappeared. Someone had stolen the lock. We didn't have the e-box. We just had the mechanical. Someone had broken it off. So my wife's like, oh, I can't even get inside now to take my picture. So I was with her, and I just whipped out my thing and said, hold the camera. I'm going to show how to pick a lock. And I jiggled with it for about 30 seconds, and I opened the door, and then, that was my video, how to pick a lock. So
all cat burglars.
Yeah.
That is really pretty fun. All cat burglars, please check out that video and stay away from my house. Now, what are you tracking down the road? So, if Matt and Julie and their 3 obese babies come on in and have a you laugh. Coming off of Craigslist today.
Yeah.
What is in the gestation time frame? Let's say he's not the guy 1 out of 30. He's the 30. He's a 29, right?
Yeah.
So is there a time frame that you're looking at that you're seeing people start converting?
180 days.
You already
So guys, we track everything. So every lead source, I have 100 lead sources, 10 that I put $10,000 a month towards. This is my least expensive lead source. It's one of my top 10 that I track. I call it, it's one of my horses in the race. Usually you should allocate 70% of your budget, in my opinion, to 30% of your lead sources, the ones that work best, and allocate 30% of your budget to 70% of the lead sources that don't work as well, and always be trying out new things. But with Craigslist, we've seen so much success in such an early period. What we expected, Greg, was that the average sales price was going to be 20 or 30% less when it was from Craigslist. We thought it was going to be a lot more work. We thought the conversion ratio was going to diminish compared to Google AdWords. But when you think about all these leads that are coming in from all of these different places, Facebook boosting, everything you're talking about, live, social media emails, all SEO off websites, they're just people thinking about buying a house or people thinking about something. We're making it too difficult, too complicated. So Craigslist people are just people too. And they're just people too.
They're a different version of people, pal. Let's be honest about that.
They're people too, and they want love from us. So
should they have hugs? Should we say their first name a lot?
Right.
Make them feel good?
Yes, we should.
So that was just really great. But we do try to pre-sell to people. I want them to know, number one, that I'm still involved. I'm still involved in every single deal. And I think that's important because when you really step away and you're just the picture over the fireplace, you can lose something there. So we try to pre-sell them with a little note from me and some brownies, and then we give our listing agents, after they have that pre-qualification talk to the seller, they kind of listen to what they're needing and maybe what a bad experience. My favorite line is, "Has a realtor wronged you in another life?"
That's a great line.
And it's usually yes. So we give them a whole list of videos that they can choose and send to them. Depends on how much time between the call and the actual appointment, how much communication they get. But they usually always get the brownies. They usually always get a couple of videos that sell our team before we walk in the door.
Now, are these? Let's go deeper on that real quick, and then we'll get into the coming soon. So, are they professionally produced, like really, really nice single topic videos? Are they videos of you that were shot almost like YouTube style? I know they're hosted on YouTube, but tell us a little bit more about like the quality level and how you went about shooting those videos.
I think they vary in quality level. Some of them are really top door professional. One of them that I'm selling coming soon is really, really a great video. There's a team video that we did for Zillow that shows the whole team. That's a pretty professional video. Also, there's a professional one that we did that just shows referral after referral after referral, different type people that have worked with us, and those are really good. So it's varying. Some of them, and some of them we took my radio spots and we just did some graphics to them, which I think are very cool because they're very what's happening in the market right now. I recently did a radio interview that said somebody asked me what's happening in the market. I said I can describe our market in 2 words: sell now. And then I showed the graph. Then I showed the graph of the build up to 2008, and then I show it declining, and now I show it at almost the same thing. So that is my opinion. Sell now.
Yeah, and I'd love to piggyback off that just slightly. So, because I don't care if they're working with another agent, right? So a lot of times I found that it's a defense mechanism, because if they tell me they're working with another agent, a lot of times they just feel like I'll back off. So I'll sit there and say, oh, cool, it's small world, I probably know your agent. Who's your agent? Like I can kind of tell right there. But then from there, I'm still going to tour them and take them through and get them into my funnel. Their agent may go sell my house, but the stat right now, you guys, is 88% of buyers and sellers said they love their agent, would utilize their agent again. Only 11% ever do a repeat transaction. And it's because agents are so focused on the now business, they neglect their past clients, and their past clients aren't redoing business. It's not because their agent did a shittier job over time in their head. No, it's because they forgot their agent's name. So I'm totally cool with being number 2. Put them in my funnel. I'll be number 2. I have 7 years to go establish that relationship. The name of the game is just to get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living. As long as you follow up frequently, your business grows. So in that case, like I'm totally cool with being number 2. I get them in my funnel, and I just keep following up.
But here's how I look at the social media. I know you asked me about Facebook, so I'm going to come back. I promise.
Okay.
But here's how I look at it. I look at Facebook as being the people that know me already. Okay. I look at Twitter as the people that do not know me. And I looked at LinkedIn as the people that I need to know. Okay. Good. All right. So that's it. Facebook, people that know me. Twitter, people that don't know me, that need to know me. And LinkedIn are the people that I need to know. Okay. So
those are the 2 types of questions I see most often on Facebook groups. Is they want to know what's the next tactic I should try for lead generation, because everything I've tried up to this point doesn't work.
Well, that's because they stick with it for a week. And
exactly.
Because they're a goldfish, and like they're
well, and it's because they're asking themselves the wrong question. They're asking, how do I get clients? I want to grow my business. How do I get clients? How do more people work with me? They're not asking, how do I make it more obvious that I give incredible value? How do I be more valuable to more people in a systematic way? That's the question to ask.
Well, you have to give of yourself more than anything. You have to be willing to go out there and give continuously, because the universe will get out of your way. As soon as you give enough value to the universe, it will give everything you've ever wanted back to you, because the law of reciprocity comes back into flow. But no, what you're saying is 100% right. It's the day-to-day tactics to get their instant gratification, given to them, because we're I call it the microwave society. In generations, we want it done now. If you don't get a text back on this thing called an iPhone or a cell phone, a smartphone within 5 minutes, you immediately think the other person hates you, and that's
dead.
Or they're dead. I'm like, oh my God, they got killed in the accident I heard about on the freeway. No, dude, they're just taking a dump.
Were you in that? Were you in that earthquake in Ecuador? Because I texted you at like 2:05, and it was 2:15. You hadn't answered me, so I naturally assumed that you had taken a trip to Ecuador and were caught in that earthquake.
From Omaha, Nebraska. You made a huge trip just spontaneously. Yes.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only given explanation for you not texting me back within 10 minutes.
Of course. Or you're cheating on me, or God forbid, something catastrophe has happened. But no, I mean, realistically, I mean, the way that we view life is that like we have got to get. It has to work today, now. I do a lot of McDaniel challenges with folks who are going, I need business now, Greg. And I say, you picked the wrong business. This is not selling a stick of gum in a store, okay? It's not an impulse buy. This is a massive buy.